You alright? You alright, Ruby?
Phil walks the tree line when the sun goes down. Boots in the gravel on the edge of town. Backpack rattles with a lantern and a map. Looking for the thing
behind it. And then 2 3-foot tall, 3.5 foot tall guardians with glowing red eyes were there.
Boys been chasing shadows in the midnight grass. But Phil just smiles at the cold night air. 'Cause something out there knows he's there. In the rustle of leaves.
Kid, I've experienced everything from angels to demons to ghosts to all kinds of other things I can't explain. I had my first Bigfoot encounter back around 2012 or something like that.
Chasing ghostly echoes in the pale moonlight, from forgotten forests to the deserts deep, where the old bones hide and the spirits creep. With a camera and courage and a trail to see, he'll follow any legend through eternity. Yeah, the world's full of whispers most folks never see, but they all know.
I think disclosure is inevitable for one simple fact. This is true. UFOs are real. You can ignore the truth, you can distort it, you can hide it, you can lie about it, but you will never destroy it.
Lights dancing in a cold black sky. Track band branches where the tall grass sways. Heard something breathing in the forest.
A guy standing next to my bedroom door, only at night, and he stood there, and I was 3-4 years old, and my mom thought I was crazy.
And when the fire burns low and the coyotes sing, you can bet he's hunting something strange again. Through the static and dark, through the myth and the lore.
Obviously, I believe that these things exist after the stuff I've seen. So you can't say to someone who's seen stuff, these things aren't real. Obviously, you know. But yeah, people keep telling me they're not real, but I know they are.
and free.
Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to the Friday Night Files. Firstly, I just want to say to everyone who's on or who will be watching this later on, for all of those that know that Roxy and myself lost Ruby yesterday, and just want to say thank you to everybody for all the kind words. It gave a lot of comfort, it really did, and yeah, honestly, so appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. You're very kind, all of you. And yeah, it's a strange thing. I like to feel, and I know that she's gone to doggy heaven, and there's a lot of people out there which would turn around and go, well, no, Phil, actually, no, because in the Bible it doesn't say that animals have souls, and actually mention anything about animals going to heaven. Well, the Bible was made up of 66 books, roughly, isn't it? And it was written over a period and added to over a period of 1500 years. And a lot of the scripture in there is written anonymously. A lot of it isn't. A lot of it is written because of the guidance of God. I'm not taking away from that. I am Christian, do believe in a God, but when people say that animals don't have souls, then I think that's totally incorrect. God made animals, and when animals pass, then animals are taken to heaven. And people join them. There's been many cases where people have had experiences where I know of one lady I spoke to, and she worked on a terminal ward, and she said the amount of people who, in their last moments, would see children come to the bed, not necessarily children that they know, but children. They would see relatives that they did know, and they would see animals. And they would turn around and they would say to the nursing staff, and of course, the nursing staff would be kind of appeasing it. Yes, of course he did, dear. It's okay, because obviously they're under medication and such. But this lady that told me she didn't want to come on the show. I understand why. She still works within the environment. But she was absolutely forthright when she said that, yes, they do see their pets they used to own, almost like they come back to collect, or to make sure that they're taken by both people they know and their pets. So just wanted to clarify it. So, and before any pagans or witches and think that I've gone to the dark side, or I no longer believing in the God. No, I do. It's just an observation that I've made. Yeah. And anyway, what is a soul? Let's face it. Right. Okay. What I would like to do is bring on. I have a new co-host. He was previously a guest, Rob Shelsky. He's a credited author. He's written an awful lot of books, all of which delve a lot. Anyway, delve. He's written some non-fiction, some fiction books as well, romance books, but a lot of them are non-fiction, and they're really food for thought. He's got such an inquiring mind, and I really have a lot of respect for Rob Shelsky. After talking to him previously when he was on as a guest, he's really such a intelligent guy. And I couldn't think of anyone better with the guest we're going to have on to have as a co-host, to be honest. I just couldn't think of anyone else at the moment, because it's so well matched with our guest. Now, with a lot of guests I have on, I just want to clarify this. With a lot of the guests I have on, I have an eclectic mix of people. Let's face it. All of them I respect in their own way. Some are from the cryptid side of things. Some are from the paranormal, ghosty side of things. Some from the UAP, UFO side of things. This show is for everybody. I'm a strong believer. If anyone has listened to me previously, they know that I believe that there is a common thread linking everything together, and that's part of the reason why I welcome different facets of this paranormality that we're dealing with, and I think it's a good thing to do. And it broadens one's horizons rather than staying too rigid in just one channel of thought. It's better to kind of like open up your spectrum, as it were. Open up your angle, encompass all of it together, give it a mishmash around in a pot and see what comes out. And I think that's the best way of doing it. So yeah, I'm gonna bring on Rob Shelsky, and gonna introduce you, okay, to the man himself and his work. Okay. Get him on. Hello, Rob.
Hi, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Thank you very much once again for hosting on this. It's a privilege to have you on. It really is.
Well, it's a privilege to be here and a joy. I enjoy your show.
Thank you. Yeah, and I didn't pay you for that, did I?
No, not yet.
No. yeah, which is yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding, of course.
I'm going to be expecting a bill. I know that. Yeah, but no, I mean, where do you stand with sort of like souls and animals? Because you're a really big cat person, aren't you yourself?
Well, I'm a cat person by default. I mean, I was a dog person, and I love dogs. And I was so sorry to hear about your pet going. I mean, she was
Thank
such
you,
a
mate.
cutie. It's
Thank
so
you.
hard to say goodbye, and the more you love them, the harder it is. And you never quite get over it, do you? I mean, I've had some 30, 40 cats in my life, and I can remember the name of every single pet I had, and dog, and bird. And I even had a mouse, a little white rat that I loved. Hummer Tots
Oh,
was called. But and I think they have souls. Absolutely, they have personalities. Each, all my cats are all different personalities. Dogs are. So how can they not have souls? There was an old line that I remember from when I was a kid. A priest was on a bus, and there was a little girl, and the little girl asked him, "Do dogs have souls? Do they go to heaven?" And he said, "Well, it wouldn't be heaven without them, would it?" And that's exactly how I
yeah,
look at it. It wouldn't be heaven
yeah,
without them. So yeah, I think
yeah,
wherever we go, I think they go wherever we go, and I hope they do, because I really want to see my little pets again someday. But
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Right now, I just hope. But yeah, I think animals have souls. I think every living thing. Now they're saying that even inanimate objects might have a form of consciousness, which I think is similar to a soul. And people say,
Really?
well, dogs aren't really conscious or cats aren't. Yes, they are. They experience joy when you scratch their head or their neck. They love it. They'll roll over. They want the attention. That means they must enjoy the attention. And
Mm,
if they can feel joy and they can feel grief, and animals do feel grief,
yeah.
then, in my opinion, they must have souls. So prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I absolutely agree. Because there's a debate at the moment. What on earth is a soul? For a start, it's a soul, consciousness. They're two things which we've had since time immemorial when we crawled out from the slime. But we still don't quite understand or know what it is.
We have no
Um,
clue what it is, really. No, we
no,
don't.
and I think it would be quite narcissistic of us to think that we're the only ones that possess something that we don't truly understand what it is anyway.
Not only narcissistic, but arrogant beyond belief. I
Yes.
mean, the soul stops here, kind of thing. I don't think so.
Mm.
If there are alien species out there, don't they have souls? I mean, are we the only ones with souls? It just doesn't make sense. It's too arbitrary. I think it comes from our old religions, and as much as I respect them, and I was raised Catholic, they do have their flaws, and one of them is they can be quite rigid. But you have to remember, I mean, the Bible was not divinely written; it was divinely inspired. But men wrote the Bible, and men make
Mm.
mistakes, and they come to the wrong conclusions. And also, it was a very patriarchal society back then in the old days, but and still is in a lot of places. And so they wrote it with the intent that the male should dominate and our
Mm.
perspective should dominate. And so it was rather arbitrary what books they put in the Bible, which books they left out. I mean, there's the Gospel according to Thomas they left out. It's in the Gnostic Bible. There's the Gospel according to Judas, of all people, and there is the Gospel according to Mary Magdalene, among many, many others.
Mm.
So I think there's wiggle room there for us to be able to say, well, this may be so and this may not be so. We are rational thinking beings and we have a right to question. Do I
Yeah.
believe in a God? Yes. But more importantly, I hope there is a God. I hope beyond belief that there is a God, because with all the injustice in the world, we have to have some kind of ultimate arbitrator, you know?
Yeah, I know. It always reminds me of the Monty Python sketch. There's got to be intelligent life up there because there's bugger all down here. I do hope, as you say, that there is a God. I'm sure there is a God. Uh, Partly because I believe there's a God. So I think, our belief goes some way to creating, in a way. It not creating, that's the wrong term. It goes some way to appease the God, maybe, to furnish it, to by believing in it. And that is the whole thing. It's the belief structure which the church is built around, where it kind of like went a little bit wrong, was it became fundamentally too it alienated itself from the very people it wanted to attract. It became glorified. The actual churches became too glorified. It became very secular to itself. I believe the church
Yes, I
construct
think that's a
in
good
that
way
nature.
to describe it. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It has become too secular in the sense that it's wrapped up in itself, and anything that contradicts itself is wrong. And it used to be a more liberal. I mean, St. Thomas was a Saint, I think of Augustine, was it? But he was a very intelligent man, and he wrote a lot of stuff that was where he questioned things and he tried to provide answers. And that's the kind of religious mind I like, the one that believes but still questions as well, trying to find out answers and nuances. Do I believe in a personal God? I hope so. I'm not sure he's that personal. I'm not sure he answers prayers. They've done studies, and the studies show that people who are ill in the hospital on their deathbed, basically, or close to it, they would pray over one group and not over the other. And they found that the group that wasn't prayed over was more likely to live than the group that they prayed over. But they think that's because the group that was prayed over were more willing to accept their death because they firmly believed something was coming after, whereas those that didn't believe thought this was it and they didn't want to leave, you know. So
Interesting.
but by the way, did you know they did recent studies on animals, I think cats and dogs, and they found that they have the microtubule in their brain, and that when they're dying, you have that sudden burst of electrical activity, which is on the conscious level, basically, but it's internal. And they're saying one neuroscientist theory was that that was the soul draining out of the brain, the mind draining out of the brain to go to wherever we go. And apparently it works for the animals too. So that's another reason why I believe animals have souls.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Just but just a quick recap on your work, because as I say, I'm very over the moon that you're on the show. Over the moon that you're a host. You're going to be hosting again next week. See, the thing is that I was thinking about is I'm more of a rudder of the actual boat, you know. I just like try and sort of guide it along, but I'm trying to sort of I always feel that if I have kind of like a maybe a cryptid guy on, or a guest which is more you know, kind of seeing a ghost behind a curtain, it's doing you an injustice in a way, because you're kind of more deep thinking, you know, of a character. I don't know. Am I wrong? I mean, is it something that you would be interested
No, I'm
in?
really shallow. I'm very shallow. No, I'm kidding. You know, that is exactly how I feel about things and am interested in. You do you believe in a personal God, for instance, or I mean, do you believe in a more of a universal kind of creature or being?
I believe that consciousness is external to us.
I do too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's more like a river that flows all around us. It's an all-pervasive river that flows around us that we dip in, dip out of. Our mind, our brain is more like an antenna. It's a processor.
Receiver. I think it's the receiver.
Yeah, receiver.
Like a radio receiver is to radio waves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Very much
I do
so.
too. Yeah, I do
Very
too.
much so. And but I think the consciousness that we talk about is external to us. And I think if you can imagine, like they in 2012 when they discovered the boson particle, and I think it's all pervasive, it's all around us, and we're able to dip into it. We don't even know we're dipping into it. We're able to have shared thoughts. So if you can imagine somebody having a thought, or somebody having and it goes into that field of consciousness, that river that's flowing past me at the moment, as that river flows past me, and then I have a revelation, instantaneous thought that comes into my head, because my brain's kind of picking up on what they have previously thought, what they have previously said, what they previously conjectured about, and I'm picking up on it. I'm twirling it around a little bit and altering it and firing it back out, and then I'm adding to that consciousness. That's what I believe. As for the big fella upstairs, I do pray to God. I don't particularly go to. I don't go to church. I don't feel that you have to go to church to pray.
No, no.
I can quite easily, like I have done recently, prayed for Ruby, prayed for relatives that have passed away in the past. I think it's important to, if you pray, obviously to try and pray on for other people. Don't pray for yourself. You can, because what happens to me is the big fella upstairs. That's ultimately what happens. If I spill a cup of tea walking up the stairs, you know, that's my own silly fault. I slipped over my sandal. But if I become diagnosed with something, then partly it's genetic makeup, partly it's because I've been in a previous accident, but partly also there's this grey area that we can't account for. There's this part of random possibility that forms and takes shape, almost like the hand of God that says, right, okay, this is going to happen to you. And we kind of like think, well, you know, why is that? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I think all of it, when people go through life, I think more and more they tend to find that, and I know this for sure with my life, even in the very lowest times, even in the bad times, and believe me, I've had some sort of great crap times, you know, like everyone. But when I look back in retrospect, if I hadn't have gone through those times, it wouldn't have shaped me, and I wouldn't have formed the way my life has turned out to be. It would have shaped it differently. And even though I don't know what that alternate form would have been, I'm damn sure that I know I am lucky, and lucky to God that I've got what I have at the moment. So a long way round it. I know I go around the houses about this. I think that there is a governing power, a governing God, which does guide us, which we don't have control over. The RTA that might happen on a Monday morning going up to wherever I've got to go. There's a random set of possibilities which we can't govern, but something else certainly does, because the outcome, when you look back in retrospect, you think, wow, it's really lucky that I didn't cross that road that day, because otherwise that articulated truck that I read about having an accident down that road would have got me. So I think that
Well, that's true unless you believe in the idea of quantum immortality.
yeah, I mean, with quantum, with the world of quantum, the smaller we get, the less we know. Quantum has always been there. We hope. The quantum world. The quantum world is the building blocks of basically our structure of reality. I sometimes
But which
question.
reality? Which reality? Because the quantum theory of immortality says that you can't die. That every time you think you die, the universe splits, and there's a version of you that didn't die, and your consciousness continuity just continues in that line, so that you don't die. Everyone around you looks like you passed, but to you, you narrowly escaped. Like crossing that road, you didn't cross it. The you that crossed it,
Mm.
is gone. And so for the consciousness to continue, it has to continue in another branch of different universe where it can continue. And it may be that all the different versions of you and all the different parallel realities actually form one hypersoul. That right now we're like a diamond, and a diamond can have many facets. And you and I are one facet of our diamonds, but all the other realities with us in it are the other facets of that same diamond that forms one overall soul. So it could be, I call it a hypersoul, is what I came up with, but it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's a good hypothesis, really, because it does make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but there's no proof for it. But you like you were talking about, thoughts come into your head. Are they coming into head from a unconscious or reality, like Carl Jung described? It's the collective unconscious, or are they coming from parallel universes? And is it affecting you? There's even programs you can buy that actually allow you to try to quantum jump from your own physical reality into a parallel universe in another reality that's you, so that you can continue doing like if you envision a different world where you're rich in something and you use this meditation program, you actually can manifest it by dragging it into our reality. So it's all a little intense, but and they're all theories. Unfortunately, none of them are proven, but then neither is the theory of gravity proven. So what are you going to do? We know there's gravity. We just don't know what gravity is. We think there should be a graviton particle, but as yet we have not found it, and we have looked, and we have looked a lot. So what is gravity? Is it leaking in from parallel dimensions, as some physicists think, or is it native to our own universe? And is it the same with the soul? Is consciousness really the deciding factor in the universe?
Well, there was some recent thought that dark matter was actually gravity, wasn't it? Dark matter.
Well, they're thinking that might account for gravity, and we think we have spotted areas in the universe where there is dark matter, but as yet we have not been able to find dark matter either. We have tried the large macro particles to see if that's dark matter, and the WIMPs, the weak interacting particles, is another way, but as yet we simply haven't come up with dark matter. We don't know what that is either. And we talk about dark energy, but I mean, when I look outside at night and it's dark and there's no lights on and I hear a noise, I can think that might be some strange creature howling in the woods, or it might be the wind. So that's just about as factual as dark energy and dark matter are right now. We don't know.
We don't. No, it's absolutely fascinating. It really is fascinating. And there's a region of the sky which is just completely dark, devoid of any light or stars or planets or anything.
Voids, yeah. What is it? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like Bootes, the Bootes void, or
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And that's one of the really big ones. And they shouldn't logically exist according to the theories of astronomy and cosmology, because the universe is supposed to be basically the same every direction you look, and there shouldn't be like massive areas with a lot of stuff and other areas that have no stuff at all. It should be pretty well evenly distributed, but apparently it's not. And of course there's the matter of the great attractor. We're not sure what that is, but we're rushing towards it, and so are countless galaxies.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fascinating, because at the moment it's at the moment with the great attractor, we should be slowing up. The universe should be slowing up, but in actual fact, we're accelerating. So you can imagine, like, just a big bang, boom, everything flies out. Another thing we are trying desperately to find, which is why the array, there's this array of detectors in Antarctica, is this a relic neutrino. After the first, I think it's first 5 minutes, I think it is, or it might be, I think less than that, of the Big Bang, they theorize that these relic neutrinos, which have mass, they do have mass, fired out and they're trying desperately to detect them because we have neutrinos going through us. I mean, you supping that cup of tea at the moment. There's millions of neutrinos going through that cup at the moment.
Oh, and me, and you. They're all over the
Yeah.
place. They have found a type of neutrino coming out of the Antarctic that is wrong. I'm going out on a limb here because I didn't really research that at all, but I think it's like an antiparticle. I'm not sure if it's even a neutrino.
Yes, you're right. I read that.
Yeah. But they
Yeah.
shouldn't be coming out of the Earth. They should be going into the Earth like neutrinos should. They come from space and hit the Earth and go right through it. And they can't figure out what these things are, but they're presupposing it's a antimatter universe that exists right within ours, but just we don't see it. Different dimension, maybe. But and there's real evidence now to support that idea that there is an antimatter universe where time runs backwards. So
yeah. I also saw an article on that. Yeah, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I mean, with our guest Rob, we're going to have on. I've just seen our guest has popped up. I'm going to introduce at the moment Cosmic Ray. He's known by, and shall get him up now. Let's have a look. Hello, Dr. Raymond.
Hey, Phil, Rob, it's a pleasure to be on the Friday Night File.
I'll just swap people around. There we go, and then I can put the comments up here because there we go. Thank you for joining us. I hope everything was okay.
Oh yes, everything is fine.
Good.
It's
Good.
quite a pleasure to be on the podcast and be speaking to all the friends of Venus out there in the United Kingdom.
Yes, I know you've got a few. Just to run through at the moment, we've got on the comments, we've got Roxy B. Thank you very much for admin. We've got Dawn, Sasquatch Sister. Thank you very much for also moderating. Nice to see you here. We've got Paranormal short sessions. Right, Keith Evans. Hello, Keith. Nice to see you here. We've got Kate. Hello, Kate. Thank you for the lovely song. That was a lovely intro song. I still hum it on the way to work. Let's have a look. We've got quite a few people actually. Ready Steady Retro. Hello, Ready Steady Retro. We've got Matt Hornick. Hello, Matt. Thank you for joining us. We've got Loved by Above. We've got quite a few. Delroy, hello Delroy, lovely to see you on. So yeah, we'll go through the comments as we go through on the show. Anyone that has any questions, please start with a capital Q for questions, and then Roxy, the admin, will pick that up and the moderators will highlight, and we can then get the questions up within the last half an hour, 40 minutes of the show, if that's okay. Right. So Dr. Raymond Keller. We've got Rob Shelsky. He's also a host, and myself. Are you from Earth? Can I ask, Raymond?
Sure.
You are from Earth.
Yes, I'm what you would call one of many of the star seeds that are here on Earth.
Okay.
So born regularly, like everybody else here on Earth. But
so you're a star child? Are you a star child?
Yes. That's the also the title of my autobiography that just came out. Autobiography of a Venusian.
Oh, cool.
Child of the stars.
Yeah, star child. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd like to be one too, but I don't think I am.
In fact, tomorrow I'll be up in the Cleveland area to my hometown of Bedford, Ohio, and I'll be at the Apotheosis bookstore talking about the 41 characteristics of a starseed, how people can identify themselves as such.
I think I need to read that.
Oh yeah. And I really go into it in quite some detail in my first book, Venus Rising: A Concise History of the Second Planet, as the Venus historian, and I go back in history and look at all the characteristics of Venusians and others here on Earth. And I would have to say that for all of the fans watching the Friday Night Files here, that the fact that you're interested in this subject is a good indication that you're probably a star child, and in your last incarnation here on the Earth's material plane, because you're learning everything that you need to know before you transition to another celestial orb. So that's why you're interested in paranormal phenomena and UFOs, alternate dimensions, like you were just talking about, and why most people around you, they still have a few incarnations to go, but if you're really into this stuff, you're ready.
Good.
Yeah.
I need to get off this dirt ball.
Oh, Rob, I just got back from Germany, and I was there with Bob Spearing, International MUFON coordinator, and the information that I have about Valiant Thor, Bob Spearing was adding to it. And so I covered the case of Valiant Thor from 1957 through 1966. And then he picked it up from there from 1967 to the present time. So he would be a great guest also to have on the show in the future. MUFON has really come a long way, I think, in being more encompassing about the spiritual aspects of this whole phenomena.
Yeah, that was kind of a problem for me. That's one reason why I left MUFON, really, to be honest with you. I was approaching it from a more scientific method point of view, and MUFON is great for collecting data. They are great. They get you out in the field. You have to go through a very extensive investigation in the hard science sense, and you have to interview the people and you have to discuss it. And quite often I would have to do the report, and it was up to me to decide if it was an actual encounter or not. And to be honest with you, most of the cases I couldn't do that, not because they weren't an actual encounter, but because there wasn't enough solid evidence to presuppose that it was possible. And so you either had to believe what the people said to you in their own personal experiences, but that wasn't, there was no way you could collect data on that, and there's no way that it would increase our sum total of knowledge about the whole UFO phenomena. And I'm one of those people that wants answers. I want to kick the tires of the UFO to make sure it's real, that goes. But I don't know exactly why they're here or what they want, but whether or not it's a spiritual approach to it works, I'm not sure either. I do remember that one of the directors that they had come on MUFON was a woman who said that she was trans-channeling a dead alien from 60,000 years ago. And she may well have been. I don't know. I mean, I'm not having her experiences, so how do I know? If I don't get on the bus, I don't see what people are on the bus, right? But it's not repeatable. And it contradicts other people who claim the same sort of spiritual thing. They have a different set of beliefs or experiences, shall we say. So the only thing that can guide me is the scientific method and rational thought to a large degree. That doesn't mean I rule out the spiritual, but I think you are more with the spiritual aspects of it.
Yes, I would say so. I was looking at the UFO phenomena and disclosure, the ultimate disclosure, as a three-phase process. We have the various revelations that are being leaked by the governments of the world. And so when I did my program in Germany, the Ultimate UFO Disclosure Conference 2.0, I focused on UFO disclosure taking place in 12 countries and then ultimately the United Nations, because it's not going to be a monopoly from any one country. Here in the States, people kind of have an insular thing about it, that it's going to be the Space Force or the Air Force or some branch of the U.S. government, but it's a bigger picture than that. It encompasses the whole world. And then we have the soft disclosure from Hollywood, which is very important, and media in general, even going back to the late 19th century, and science fiction authors. There was a lot of truth in science fiction and also in Hollywood productions. So that's another focus, the gradual disclosure of information about the UFO phenomena. And then we had an Ipsos poll in 2021, or at the time of the congressional hearings in the United States with the Navy pilots and the admittance by the U.S. government that the UFO phenomena, or UAP phenomena, as they now call it, is very real, but they still weren't ready to come out and say that it was something extraterrestrial or ultra-dimensional, although they were considering it. But then we had this poll, and it said that while 65% now believe that UFOs exist and are interplanetary spacecraft, it said that another 15% of Americans, anyway, claimed actual experience with the entities, the intelligences behind the UFOs to one extent or another, whether that be physical abductions, contactee encounters, ultra-dimensional, spectral apparitions, spiritual manifestations, that they were in touch with entities from beyond the earth. And so if you take the U.S. population of 300 million, and 15% of that would be 45 million people. So it's not as preposterous as it once sounded, that human beings are actually having contact with extraterrestrials.
Oh, I agree. There's been over 1 million Americans, well, worldwide, that have claimed abductions. So, I mean, if 1 million people are claiming this, whether you think it's real or not, something's going on with these people, and it's a major social phenomenon. So it should be investigated, whether real or imagination. It should be investigated, and I think it's real, frankly.
Yes.
I'd like to ask you is, why the focus on Venus? What is this about Venus and Valiant Thor that makes you zero in on that?
Well, Valiant Thor is the most prominent case regarding the Venusian presence. And one of the individuals that was with me in Germany was Laura Eisenhower, the granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who had the contact with Valiant Thor, and she validated that. And Valiant Thor's mission, of course, was to promote nuclear disarmament among the nations, and it took a while for the U.S. government to finally get around to that. But the nuclear non-proliferation treaty was signed 9 years later in 1966. After Valiant Thor had come here, so that was very important. And then when President Eisenhower gave a very famous speech against the military-industrial complex, he also announced the creation of a peaceful agency to explore outer space, because we didn't have NASA until 1958, which is 1 year after Valiant Thor had had arrived, and the demilitarization of outer space was his other point of contention with the government of the U.S. We had the Redstone missile arsenal in Alabama, and so a lot of the scientists from Germany, like Dr. Werner von Braun and others, they were working over there, and they had said publicly that they acknowledged that they got help from above, from our brothers and sisters from outer space, and so the reason that America got to the moon was because Dr. von Braun was placed in charge of NASA from 1960 all the way through 1970, and of course the moon landing was in the summer of 1969.
Right, but you're talking about nuclear weapons. Both Russia and the United States have thousands, literally 5,000 approximately, I believe, 5,000 to 6,000 nuclear weapons each. So even though we're not building any more per se, we are keeping very vast arsenals, and we are replacing and updating them. The Russians not as much as we are. We're much more cutting edge technologically. So I'm not sure that Valiant Thor did much in that department to get it accomplished that we would be disarmed. And I have to ask you, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but how can people live on Venus? It's horrible.
Well, that's what they say. I don't believe the conditions are that bad, and of course the civilization that I'm referring to is underground, and this is the same that Dr. Frank Strange has talked about. The heat that's being measured is probably electrical heat in the upper atmosphere, and the ionosphere, the same as the Earth, has measured electrical heat of 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit up there. And the Venusian atmosphere, there's a bifurcation, so it's layered, and there's varied gases in those layers, with oxygen at the lowest layer, and then they say about that 93 atmospheres of pressure. I don't believe that, because the Russian probes and others had measured like eight atmospheres, and the Venera probes. And,
yes, but that's crushing. And the Russians sent the probes to Venus. The first one lasted minutes, and the second one lasted an hour or two, I think. And they actually landed on the surface, and they measured the heat on the surface. And it also showed, I mean, we know for a fact that the clouds of Venus are full of sulfur dioxide and, sulfuric acid, and this rains down on the planet. We know that the surface temperature is very high, according to the Russian probes and according to our own satellites now orbiting Venus, or at least one of them. So,
well, let's look at.
I can't discount the fact that our technology has reached the point where we can reliably see the surface of Venus, at least indirectly, and measure these things. And
well, let's take a look at the Venera 13 and 14 probes that landed on a volcanic plateau on Venus. But if there was the pressure, it should have been all distorted and everything. But you could see 12 miles in the distance and two mountain ranges very clearly. It looked like a balmy day in the New Mexico desert. And there's been 46 space probes that have been sent to Venus so far by 4 nations, and there's 10 more on the drawing board within the next few years. Beginning at the end of this year, New Zealand is sending the Venus Life Finder probe to Venus with the help of Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But that's more space probes than to the moon, Mars, or any other celestial body in the solar system. So if Venus was actually everything that they say it was, then why is it the primary focus? And then my other question would be, yeah, there are extreme conditions for life as we know it. But there are extreme conditions here on Earth. If you go to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, it's equivalent of about 120 atmospheres of pressure. And you have volcanic vents with temperatures of 940 degrees Fahrenheit. But you know what? There's these luminous fish and all kind of life swarming down there, right in the volcanic vents. So we have extremophile type of life here on the Earth, and let's say that our planet was hit by bombarded by asteroids, then wouldn't we move our civilization underground?
It wouldn't help very much, because if a large asteroid hit the Earth, I mean a large one, not one just 100 feet across, it burrows right down into the mantle, and you'd have to have a very deep civilization, and that would be very hard to do because of the heat and pressure inside of our own planet. On Venus, I have seen reports from a lot of these satellites and things that have gone to Venus, and they have radar mapped using LiDAR or whatever it was, the whole surface, and there are volcanoes all around the surface, but they don't believe the surface is tectonic in nature. That's their main theory. They believe that the interior heats up, and about every, I don't know how many millions of years, it literally erupts all over the planet and just completely wipes out the crust and creates a new crust. That's why you don't see a lot of craters on Venus, although there's more than they used to think, but not nearly as much as like on the moon. But I haven't seen anything. Now, they did say that there might be microbial life in the upper atmosphere. But when you have an atmosphere that, you're saying at the bottom of the ocean, on Venus it might be 8 instead of 9. That's still crushingly heavy. How could normal life evolve? You might have extremophiles, but extremophiles usually are pretty small creatures, microbial in nature. Most extremophiles are, but you do have the ones down at the bottom of the ocean that have managed to live there. But again, these vents blow out hot water, but it is so incredibly cold at the bottom of the ocean that it mixes pretty well and creates what would be considered more of a normal environment rather than a superheated one.
Well, in this statement that I was telling you before by Herman Oberth and Dr. von Braun, they were talking about explorers from another solar system colonizing the planets in our solar system, and I believe that the original inhabitants of Venus actually came from a planet called Norca in the Tau Ceti system, and so I write about all these in my books, and
why do you believe that? I mean, what was your reasoning behind that one? I'm curious.
Oh, this is information that's been passed on by Albert Coe and other contactees from even before the 1950s, with Albert Coe in the 1920s.
Cosmic.
Yes.
Raymond. First of all, can I ask how did you first with the Venusians? How did you first interact? How did you? What was the genesis moment with you and the Venusian people, the civilization? What was the moment that you thought, oh, hang on a minute, I didn't realize that there's actually entities from Venus. What was that moment?
Well, when I was growing up and I was very interested in UFOs, I published a UFO magazine called the Flying Saucer Report in the 1960s. And I was going
I think I read that magazine. I do.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Rob. There's not too many people that read that, but I exchanged publications with Jean Duplantier up in Canada, and also with Gray Barker in West Virginia, and Dominic Lucchesi and Jim Mosley and people out in New Jersey, and then out in California with many contactee groups out there. Gabriel Green, Amalgamated Flying Saucer Clubs of America. And these were primarily contactee groups. And when I was attending the meetings of the Cleveland Ufology Project, I met some people that were very interested in the case of George Adamski, a California contactee, and this one woman said that she had seen a saucer from Venus, and I said, "Well, how do you know it was from Venus?" And she said it looked like a picture of this scout craft in this book by George Adamski. So I was naturally curious about that, and I got Adamski's books and read them, and then when I was out in California, I got to know Gabriel Green very well, and all the contactees out there that would gather at Giant Rock and everything, and said, yeah, there's really something to this. One of them was Howard Menger, and he talked about contacts with Venus, and he said a lot of things that are only being vindicated now. He said, for example, that there was water on the moon, and now we know that there's a frozen lake the size of Puerto Rico at the south pole of the moon. He said that the moon had a slight atmosphere, and when the Apollo astronauts were on the moon, they saw meteors burning up before they would strike the moon, which they wouldn't burn up if there wasn't some kind of atmosphere over there. And we have photographs.
The atmosphere is very thin on the moon. It is virtually a vacuum. The astronauts said that too.
Yeah, that's what NASA says, right? But I say that's NASA, never a straight answer. And
probably true.
When you look at Mars, the moon, and all the planets, the backside of the moon, there's obelisks and strange structures there. So yeah, definitely.
One of the first people I realized, I used to be I still am a big Talking Heads fan, and I remember Once in a Lifetime, that song, and David Byrne, he wrote and repeated in the chorus, "There's water on the moon. There's water below the water," which is quite right. There is water below the water.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Specifically on the moon, but in our oceans, there's a water underneath the saline content water. But yeah, he wrote about this, and that was wow. In the 70s, early 70s, I think that was.
Yes, but water on the moon would only be at the South Pole, and they think it's only in the shadows of the craters, if at all, and the water may not, they don't think it's a lake. They think it's locked into the soil on the molecular level, and in other words, it's immersed
in the soil or the regolith that's on the moon.
Right. You'd have to mine the soil.
Amount of water, so they could mine that regolith and then separate the hydrogen from the oxygen in the regolith, and then they'll have a water supply for permanent habitation and also for creating rocket fuel.
Right, and that is what they're hoping for. But as yet, we haven't seen any signs of massive amounts of water, especially in its natural, state.
Well, let me tell you something about that. One of the things that I cover in my book, I interviewed the Apollo 8 astronauts back in 1969 after they had made their historic orbits around the moon, unlike the recent Artemis mission, which just slingshotted around the moon. And so I interviewed the astronauts, and they were talking about their observations. First, they were sent there to help to find a spot that they wanted to land and check out the moon in future missions. And then in 3 years previously, before the moon, the actual moon landing at Corrales, New Mexico, Dr. J. Allen Hynek was the operating officer for the Lunar Observatory, and they had identified these strange emissions and signals of high spikes of radiation and these red lights in the Aristarchus crater, which is just to the north of the Sea of Tranquility. And so when the Apollo 8 astronauts went around, they were ordered to check it out. And from the command module, they could see what they described as campfires in the Aristarchus crater. And then later on, when the Apollo 11 astronauts actually landed there, it's purported that they saw bogies hovering over the Aristarchus crater when they looked to the north. So there's alien activity on the moon. I really believe.
Well, the astronauts deny that they ever said that when they were interviewed. And the Aristarchus crater, you're quite right. It's referred to by astronomers as the blue gem because of blue glows in the crater and blue mists. And that's why they call it the blue gem. And they did do a spectral analysis of it one time. And they said that it had the same glow, spectral analysis glow, that a fusion reactor has. So some people are wondering if there isn't a hidden fusion reactor in the Aristarchus crater. And the blue is probably Cherenkov radiation, which is a harmless side effect of nuclear reactors. You can get Cherenkov radiation. But yes, I think there could very well have been aliens on the moon in the past. I don't know if they're still there, but it certainly is a good location for them. It is the high ground. They can observe us all the time. But I'd like to switch here a little bit and ask you, what is your basic theory about the celestial orb? And I mean, you think we reincarnate here and then eventually we get to go to another planet? I mean, how does that work? I believe.
Oh yes. I believe that we all come through cycles of incarnation on worlds before we go to the next, and some highly evolved souls that have gone through many incarnations, they come back as teachers or avatars to help us out. That's why on the cover of my book I have the Tibetan wheel of life there.
Now, when you talk about how can I phrase this? How do you know this? I mean, do you have any evidence to support this? Or, I mean, anything that you can fall back to that? I mean, I know the contactees say it, so the contactees often differ strongly about what they say it's like out there. And how do you know that they're not just talking through their hat and they're actually, I mean, what makes them any more truthful than anybody else, like an astronomer or a physicist who says otherwise?
Well, I believe that where there's smoke, there's fire, and yes, they have different stories, yes, but on the other hand, it's kind of like the three blindfolded men and the elephant. You know, one's grabbing the trunk, and one's got the tail, and the other one's got the leg or an ear, or
yeah, that was actually 6 of them. I remember that was a famous poem we had to read as a kid.
Right.
They all decided the elephant was like a rope or a tree or.
So they're all experiencing the object of they're all experiencing the elephant, right? But they have different ways. They have a different apperception of it. And
well,
it's not it's not that it's not a real phenomena, because it is. I believe that they're really in contact with these beings.
Right. But belief is the definition of belief is having faith in that which you cannot prove. So belief is belief, and scientific evidence is something else. And don't get me wrong, I have my beliefs too, and I believe that there were aliens on the moon, and there might still be. So we're not very far apart, but I'd like to see evidence, not just hearsay, if you know what I mean. And I'm
You
not
know,
talking about you, but I mean these contact teams.
not everybody's an astrophysicist, but I believe the real experts in the UFO phenomena are the UFO experiencers.
Yes, and you're quite right. Could be. Because I believe
Um,
UFOs are real, and that's a belief. But it's more than a belief. I mean, even the government's saying now they're real, so they're real.
Yeah.
And you think they're from other worlds rather than from other dimensions?
I think they're actually from a multiplicity of places, because the universe, after all, is a big place, and just the the Kepler probe has detected the presence of over 15,000 worlds, of which about 10% of them are Earth-like, or allegedly Earth-like. So there's probably all kinds of confederations, alliances out there of intelligent species, and I'm hoping that one day our planet will be found worthy to join one of them.
Ray, can I ask once, just to get back to the original question, when was the Genesis moment? When did you first, when were you first introduced to the Venusians?
That was in Mount Shasta in 1987. I had a UFO group with 14 chapters worldwide called OSIRIS, Outer Space International Research and Investigation Society, and our group in Salt Lake City was following Clayton Parker, 87-year-old gentleman at that time, to Mount Shasta, and he said that he would take us there, and that we would get to meet some ascended masters. And so we already believe in UFOs and life on other planets and everything, so why not? And so we followed him there, and we got to the foot of the mountain, and then he directed us to a trail, and he said to just follow that all the way up as far as it would go. And he was too old to go up there himself, but there were 8 of us all together, and so we started up there the trail, and we got to an outcropping of rocks right above the tree line, which Rob Potter and some others later told me was known as Panther Meadow. And while we were up there, there was a ray of golden light, shimmering light, and a woman all in white with some gold braids stepped out of the light and told us not to be afraid. Her name was Lady Ankara, and she was going to answer our questions about flying saucers. So we were up there for 3 hours. She explained that we were standing in a bilocation signal, that once upon a time she had been translated to Venus, and now she was speaking to us and communing with us, standing in the middle of a bilocation signal emanating from a super Earth-like planet in the Sirius star system called Balaton. So she told us what it was all like up there, and then Kay Studstrup, who we met at her house in Murray, Utah, she brought a camera and asked if she could take a picture of Lady Ankara and our group, and so she stood in the middle, and then we all gathered around her, and a picture was snapped, and then she left. Lady Ankara left in much the same way that she had arrived, and when we got down there, and we heard back to Salt Lake City to take the picture. This is before the internet, so we wanted to get to a 1-hour photo mat. And we got to Salt Lake City and developed the picture, and she wasn't anywhere in it. And so we all were asking Clayton, well, how come her picture? How come she's not in the picture, right? And and uh, and he said, well, it's like it's that her molecules were she was from a much lighter density, and her molecules were moving much faster. He said it's like a fan. You know, when you have a fan, it's plugged in and turned on. You have the thick metal blades, but it's spinning around so fast you can actually see right through it. So he said that's not a perfect analogy, but he said, you know, you get the picture, right?
Okay.
When did this happen? I'm sorry. When did this take place?
That was in the summer of 1987, a few weeks after the harmonic convergence.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember the harmonic convergence. Yeah, maybe the
And
condition was just right for her to appear.
yeah, and it was really interesting because in the harmonic convergence, you know, speaking of physical objects and metaphysical objects, some people were able to see the physical craft, and others didn't see anything, and some were seeing things, but they were phasing in and out. And
Sort of
it
like
was,
UFOs do on occasion.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was, you know, where I stepped from the purely physical to the looking at it in a more spiritual context. My friend and mentor, Clayton Parker, he wrote a book also called "Thy Will Be Done," and he was a boyhood friend of a mystic from American Falls, Idaho, named Annalise Scarron. And she had been, he had been with her when she was translated right before his eyes on Mount Shasta. And
Isn't Mount Shasta supposed to be a sacred place to Native Americans? I mean,
oh yeah,
I've heard that was, even when I lived in California, that was considered sacred.
That's right, Rob. It's the Siskiyou Indians. They hold it to be sacred ground.
Yeah, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's one of those places where they can come through, like a doorway or a portal or something.
Yes.
So you think there's a lot of like confederations, empires, or
oh yeah, for sure.
Civilizations
It was actually George Van Tassel who built and ran the Integratron and the Interplanetary Spacecraft Conventions from 1954 through 1978 at Landers Field.
Did the Integratron work? I know that they were building it. I remember reading about it when I was a kid. It was supposed to be entirely made of wood, no metal in it, because they said that it couldn't have that. Oops, I just lost an earplug. But did they finish it, and did it work?
Yeah. And there was a lot of equipment in there originally, but just like after Tesla died, somebody went in there from the government and took all the stuff out, and there were just a few Tesla coils lying on the ground, and somebody took everything that was in there out of there. So I think it was meant to be a rejuvenation machine and a time machine. In other words,
it was supposed to have quite a few attributes, wasn't it?
Yeah. If you were to go in there, back in the day, you could channel beings. Van Tassel channeled Ashtar, who was a space commander operating between the orbits of Earth and Mars, and Ashtar is the one that revealed to Van Tassel that the Earth was being considered to be the 602nd planetary member of the Galactic Confederation, which had 601 planets in 51 solar systems.
Well, you know, the Vedic texts of India refer to the fact that there are multiple races and that they were claiming Earth way back, you know, the Anunnaki, that sort of thing with the Sumerians. I'm mixing the two civilizations here, but they said that there was some kind of interstellar war, and that that one of the gods, I can't remember if it was Kali or who it was, actually flew to the moon in a Vimana, and they had a battle on the surface of the moon. So that kind of rings true from their point of view, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Among the contactee community, the battle is known as the Syrian Shift, and Dr. George Hunt Williamson, who was a friend of Adamski, that was with Adamski when he first encountered the Venusian out at Desert Center, California, on 20 November 1952. Williamson was the first astroarchaeologist before von Daniken or Stitchin or any of these other people, and he talked about this battle that there were long ago in the midst of time before recorded history. There was a battle between beings from between Orion and for control of the Taurus sector, which included the Pleiades and also Sirius, to shift the control over to Orion, and that this battle has been continuing, not only for the control of Earth but for the control of other planets for these countless millennia. And I think that's right, because in the Bible it talks about 1/3 of the hosts of heaven were in rebellion, and that makes sense considering the proportion of planets.
So you think the Old Testament of the Bible is a I don't want to say mythologized, but a version of history about that kind of got corrupted over time, or not corrupted necessarily, but interpreted by the people who lived at the time who didn't know all of the other stuff that, like.
Oh yeah, like any spiritual text or open text that we have to read, it's subject to different interpretations. I just consider Dr. Williamson's to be a credible one.
Ray, can I ask you, with the Venusians, the interactions you've had, have you ever heard on the Galactic Council of anyone called Vrillion? Can I play you something?
Sure.
I'll tell you what it is. It's only about a minute. Okay.
I know there's a Michael a Legion, but I haven't heard the term Vrillion. But yeah, go ahead and play it.
I'll tell you what, in 1977, I remember distinctly, and it happened, it took out a broadcast, a national broadcast in the southern region of the UK. Something interrupted the feed, and a pirate broadcast came over, and they said they were from the Galactic Council. Now, I remember this as a kid. I was playing on my sister's moped in the garden, funny enough.
I remember that too. I have it in this book.
Yeah.
Do you?
Well.
Yeah, let me find it. I'll read it. It's just a short one. Well, I was a friend with a gentleman named Andy Reese. He was the psychic reporter for the Weekly World News, and we wrote a book together, and he did a regular column in my publication called The New Millennial Star. And he talked about an entity like that just called himself VOR. That stands for Venusian Observation Ranger. And he was talking about interrupting radio and television signals with this message about a nuclear disarmament. And if I can find that in here,
I'm gonna play. You find that in the book. I'm gonna play this minute's worth of message that was sent over. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get it up for you. Okay. Right then, it's on today in the strange. Hold on, let's take it back a bit.
77. Something strange happened. On this day in 1977, something strange happened. Southern England was watching the evening news when the voice changed. A deep metallic tone cut through the broadcast. This is the voice of Relic of the Ashtar Galactic Command. For 6 minutes, 500,000 viewers heard a distorted alien urging humanity to lay down its weapons and enter a new age of Aquarius. The image never changed, only the sound. Then, silence. The regular broadcast resumed as if nothing happened. Investigators traced the signal to the Hannington transmitter, but the culprit was never found. Was it a prank with a perfect inside hack, or something that slipped through the static? Nearly 50 years later, no one's claimed it, and Vrillon still echoes through broadcast.
Okay.
Wow.
Right. So that's what actually happened. It was just I remember it distinctly on when it happened on TV, because it made me nearly fall out of my I'll play you the full bit. Okay, hang on, I'll get it up now. This is the actual broadcast. Okay, Ray. This is
Okay.
the broadcast. Okay. Right, here we go. Let's get it up. Bump. Okay, I just have to say that this is done by a I'll tell you who it's done by. Yeah, it's done by Devi DEVI Detroit. So this is his own words at the end, but you know, but let's get it on to the actual thing. Right then, okay.
The Rhodesian nationalist leader, Bishop Abel Muzorewa, has accepted Mr. Smith's offer to negotiate an internal settlement based on one man. But, he says, conditions. These include stopping the execution of all captured prisoners of war, negotiations, being arrested. In Australia, Mr. Kerry Packer's are still being
This is the voice of Allah, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. We speak to you now to send us theme as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world, so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disaster which threatens your world and the beings on other worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in a great awakening as the planet passes into a new age of Aquarius. The new age will be a time of great peace and evolution for your race, but only if your rulers are made aware of the persons that cannot follow their judgments. Be still now, and listen, or your chance may not come again. All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution if you show yourselves worthy to do this. You have but a short time to learn to live together in peace and goodwill. Small groups all over the planet are learning this, and exist to pass on the light of the dawning new age to you all. You are free to accept the protective teachings
this
of
wide.
those who learn to
Many go as wide as
pass
this.
into the
Then they run out.
spiritual evolution. Here now, the voice of Raymond, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. Be aware also that there are many false prophets and guides at present operating on your world. They will suck your energy from you, the energy you call money, and will put it to evil ends, giving you worthless dross in return. But your divine self will protect you from this. You must be utterly sensitive to the voice within that can tell you what is true. Learn to listen to the voice of truth which is within you.
Such a
Lead yourself. This is our message.
I really appreciate your choice. Understand that we can't have I insist so delicious, full of only really choice ingredients. I can
Let's have 9 lives.
well, that's
Have no fears. Seek only to know yourself and disregard the race of your planet Earth. Many of the Ashtar Galactic Command thank you for your attention. Beyond leaving the days of your existence, may you be blessed by the supreme love and truth of universe.
Right. So, that's, I mean, 1977, I used to be a CBer. Okay. I used to be on the CB with the rubber duck and all that. And I used to have a Meriden. I think it was a Meriden rig, CB rig. Anyway, I know for a start to bleed over. So, I mean, if you get the frequency, and this is a TV broadcast, to have the power to bleed over that frequency with your own broadcast takes some serious power.
Yeah. And
Well, they used the tower, the transmission tower out in the country. See, these are the things that bother me. One, the tower wasn't in London. The tower was in a rural area where it probably wasn't being policed or had any security back in 1977. Transmission tower. Number two, it was a terribly corrupted broadcast. It barely, I mean, they would have used the power of that tower to transmit, but apparently it was not enough to completely cut out the old one and get the new one. Virtually unintelligible at points. And also, it was only in the south of England. If they have UFOs and different planes of existence and all this, I can't help but wonder, why the heck would it only be southern England? Why not the entire planet? Why not the United States that has the nuclear weapons, or Russia? Why just the south? All these questions come to my mind, you see.
Well, from what I understand, it was transmitted around the world. I did find the part in the book. I'll read that paragraph here. It says, Andy's apartment seemed to be both an interdimensional and extraterrestrial nexus point. Andy showed me a psychic telephone that he had at his residence that allowed him to call up people who had died and were already living on the other side of the veil. Additionally, Andy's extraterrestrial contact was a Venusian who called himself Vor. Andy explained that his name was an acronym that signified Venusian Observation Ranger. Vor would manifest himself on unoccupied channels of the ultra-high frequency dial on Andy's television set, keeping him abreast on the Venusians and other friendly extraterrestrials' activities here on Earth that were cleared for dissemination to the public in the pages of the Weekly World News and the New Millennial Star. As one of the Rangers, Vor said that occasionally he would interrupt the transmissions and programming of regular television stations around the world, especially in areas where nuclear bombs were stored on military facilities, to send a message of enlightenment and peace to the peoples, warning them of the dangers of nuclear escalation and even the militarization of outer space, and urging them to communicate with their respective nations' political authorities to enact policies that promoted global harmony and the unified, peaceful exploration of space, thus hastening the day for Earth's entry into the Galactic Confederation. Oh, there you go.
Well,
Not only
I'm sorry,
England,
but that's
but
just
the
one
whole
person
world.
saying that. Where is the corroborating evidence? I lived through that period. There was nothing on our TVs about that ever. I never saw that.
Well, Phil just played one for you.
Well, that was in England. Where is the
Yeah.
broadcast in the United States or Canada? Or, I mean, we had nothing on our news about that. I never saw anything on TV about that. So, I mean, where's the corroborating evidence?
Many people did hear it in the United States, and I understand in Japan and Australia, a whole lot of places.
Raymond, are they up in their game now? Are they? Would you say, in your opinion, that they're using such a different kind of media, and that media being, I booked up tickets to go and see it at the cinema, Day of Disclosure, the Steven Spielberg film. Do you think that there's any chance that what I'll be watching is at all has been orchestrated in any way, shape, or form to be a message from them? Do they use that type of thing now? Do they actually use Hollywood productions, or have they in the past?
Oh, yes, I do believe that. We can go as far back as 1951 to the day the Earth stood still. And then later on, 2 years after that, in the UK, there was another one called Visitor from Venus. And I think Desmond Leslie, Sir Desmond Leslie, who was a Spitfire pilot, ace pilot in World War II, and he's a royal peerage. He co-wrote the book with Adamski, but he served as a technical consultant on that movie, on those movies. And then later on, 1956, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, Major Donald E. Kehoe, who was the director of NICAP, National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena. That was the largest group in the UFO group in the world at the time. And he served as the technical consultant for that, for the design of the saucers, the aliens, and the message from them. So I think it's like, you have they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So you have this soft disclosure from Hollywood, and I believe they're gradually releasing information that's true about various aspects of the US UFO phenomena, because if they were to drop it all at once, it would just be too much for our system to take.
Well, I mean, they seem to be very cryptic in their messages, and they seem to give enough. And don't get me wrong, okay? I please don't take any offense. This is not aimed at you, not aimed at really anyone in particular at all. But they seem to give enough messages, enough cryptic disclosure, and they have done in the past for people to make movies and make a profit, write books and make a profit, and make documentaries and make a profit. But they don't seem to come across with anything concrete. If they had, like in that message, look, we want you to disarm. If, like we had with the Eisenhower meeting with the Nordics, and that didn't work because Eisenhower said, or his government turned around and said, no, we're not gonna stop any nuclear manufacture because we're being threatened with nuclear, so tit for tat, we're not going to do that. And the Nordics were like, oh, really? Oh, we'll go back then. You'll have to deal with the Greys. And the Greys said, right, okay, you can keep your nuclear, but, sort of we want something in return, and that is, the use of our bodies, our biologics, to be taken, abducted, and do whatever they would have got to do, which is an awful thing. It's highly illegal. It's just awful anyway. But what I'm trying to get at is we've had all of these cryptic messages from them. We've had a lot, but we have enough of tasters, and it just seems to be that we have enough to for people to make a profit and to make documentaries, to make films, but we don't have enough to actually meat on the bone to get any concise message that they're trying to bring to us. We get bits and pieces. We don't like you the proliferation of nuclear fuels. We don't like the proliferation of nuclear arms. We don't like you warring. We don't want you, we want a peaceful civilization. We don't want the planet blown up, but that's fine. But they don't seem to come across with why. They don't seem to come across with how they can help. They don't seem to come across, well, there is an alternative. Why is it, do you think, in your opinion, knowing the Venusians, why is it that you think they are so cryptic? Why is it, do you think, that they are so guarded of these secrets they hold?
Well, I do believe that it's an incremental disclosure on everybody's part, so that that we have time to be ready. I think that our hopes and aspirations, our time scale, our anticipation is a little bit rushed, and actually they have all the time in the world. There's certain things that a civilization must do before it's ready to become fully integrated into a galactic community. There was a Russian scientist, Kardashev, in 1964 at the I think it was Albanian conference on astronomers. He proposed a scale of contact for civilization, and he said that if a civilization can make it to the first level to be worthy would be one where we have a unified economic system, where we have a unified energy grid, where we share our energy and resources with all the inhabitants of the planet, where we have a political authority that can speak with one voice in representing the planet Earth, and not a lot of contending nations. So just those few points alone, I mean, we have a long way to go. Of course, they've been there and done that millennia ago, but they can be patient and wait for our turn.
But wasn't it Werner von Braun that said also one of the main deceptions will be the alien agenda? Didn't he come out with that?
No, he didn't say that. He did say that we were received, that he and Hermann Oberth and Schullinger and the others, that they were receiving help, that they had received help as early as the early rocket clubs and societies that would meet outside Berlin and Vienna and other places, that they knew about they knew about certain people on Earth and their interest in exploring outer space, and so they were feeding them information.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected. Thank you, Ray.
Oh,
Ray,
you're welcome.
you physically you said that I read that you spent 10 weeks and previously Rob was saying that about the inhospitable environment of Venus, and that the civilization is largely based underground. You've also spoken about a portable cloaking and teleportation device previously on other shows called the Nimbus. Can you explain to our audience how this Nimbus technology works and what it is like to physically transition to the Venusian environment?
Okay, well, the Nimbus is a portable device. It's used to cloak oneself and to step out of a dangerous situation. And
Okay.
and then what was the other question?
Sorry, yeah, right. What is it like to physically transition to the Venusian environment?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't really have to transition much. The gravity is about the same. It's maybe 19-20% less on Venus, so it's a little disorienting. And if you were to be on the surface of physical Venus, the day is quite long. It's like about four Earth months, because the planet's rotation was significantly slowed down. So the sun actually rises in the west, which is kind of freaky. And
Okay.
so you wouldn't have to, physically, it wouldn't be all that much different underground. But Venus also exists in higher planes or octaves of existence,
Yeah.
and so my friend Onek, she talks about that and Venus on the astral plane.
Okay. Can I just push you a little bit more? If the Venusians sent down a number 57 bus to collect you and take you up. Okay, I'm not. This is just trying to get a bit of common ground here. How do you physically get to Venus? How do you physically? How does it work? What is the actual? What would you have any preparation? Do you have to? How do you do it?
Yeah. Well, they have different kinds of spacecraft for different purposes. So they have small orbs that can transport one or two people. These are about 12 feet in diameter. They just work within planetary atmospheres. They have the Ventlas or scout craft, and those are 50 feet or 99 feet across. Those are the patrol craft, and these have condensers or accumulators on the bottom, and they don't generate their own power. They just siphon off the energy from the magnetic fields of the planets, and then where they cross with the ley lines, they can switch over like a railroad track. They just operate within the atmosphere of a planet, and then in the vicinity of the larger motherships, and those are the ones that generate their own power, and they travel between the planets. So within a solar system, they're not allowed to engage in any kind of hyperdrive, because there's just too much debris and things that could run into. So they operate in relatively sublight speeds within the solar system.
Right. Okay. just to go back then, so they send down you get different types of ship, which is which people have. There is charts now where people have actually got diagrams of all these different ships, even going back to something that looks like the Glocken, the bell. You get all these different types of ships. So they'll send down a ship. That's fine, but what then has the Nimbus teleportation device got to do with it?
Okay, the Nimbus is really like a cloaking device, not so much a teleportation, although it could work over a short distance for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that, because I just wanted to clarify for people how you would get there. That's all. That's
So it takes about 3 days to get there, and they use they actually use the moon to they go around the moon, and somehow they pick up speed, and then they set their course, and it takes about 3 days.
Okay.
So once either the scout craft, the patrol craft, or the orbs dock inside the mothership or the carrier ship, and it's the carrier ship that carries it to the other planet.
Okay, right, I got you. Thank you, Ray. So the Venusians have been working behind the scenes, on Earth for quite some time, for a long time now.
Yes.
I couldn't help but read that they were active during the French and American revolutions. And they used to wear red berets as a symbol of I'm not quite sure exactly their intentions, or to keep them so that they were known. They used to wear red berets during those times. With a estimate of 8,000 Venusians living on Earth today. I'm not sure if that's right or not. It's just something I've read.
Yeah, that's been augmented, and in Chicago, at the University of Chicago, they have a clock on the wall there. It's called the Doomsday Clock. And the closer that clock gets to midnight every year, you can be sure that there's a greater detachment of not only Venusians but other extraterrestrials that are operative here. It was Paul Hellyer. He was the defense minister in Canada during the Pearson administration there, from 63 to 68, and so he worked very closely with NATO, and he knew all about Area 51, talked to American astronauts, and he knew enough to say on Russian television that there's at least 80 species of extraterrestrials that have sent contingents here on Earth, that are operating here on Earth. And he said most of them, the majority, except for a few, he said, had suspect ambitions here.
Bearing in mind about the Doomsday Clock, which is at its not to scare people unduly, but it's never been so close to midnight. Bearing that in mind, and bearing in mind that the Venusians, like the Nordics, I understand to be quite peace-loving people, and are here for our protection more than anything. That in mind, and that they're on Earth, let's say conservative 8,000 at the moment, what is their primary mission in our current era of global turmoil, Ray?
Well, they have the same mission that they've always had, is to promote the unification of humankind, that we treat each other with respect that we're due as sons and daughters of the Creator, that 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 we not show partiality of one group over another, that we not oppress our brothers and sisters. So that's very important. They want us to pursue knowledge for peaceful ends, and wherever it's from, wherever we gain that knowledge, whether from science or history, we should never be afraid of knowledge, and then also to develop the powers that are latent within us. This was also the stated objectives that Helena Blavatsky found out, the co-founder of the Theosophical Society. You know that the very first treatise that she ever wrote was History of a Planet, which was all about Venus. So 135 years later, as a Theosophist myself, I decided to write Venus Rising, a concise history of the second planet, to pick up where Helena Blavatsky left off. So I agree with that, and she made 2 attempts to get into Tibet to meet with the Ascended Masters, and she didn't make it there on the first time, but she did on the second time, and she talked to the High Lamas there, the Tulkus, and she discovered that was the knowledge that they had gained from the extraterrestrials from long ago, and that's what they taught. That's what they taught the ancient Tibetans, and so that's their message hasn't changed, and that's my message as well.
Yeah, she was quite a lady, very brave, done a lot of traveling on her own, very learned lady.
Why is it taking so long?
Yeah, it's a good,
I mean, if they've been here in their thousands, and they've been here all this time, and they've been here throughout history, the world's in a worse mess now than it was in 1960.
Well,
the atomic clock has moved close to midnight, but it's also moved a little further away at times too, especially after the fall of the Soviet Union.
We humans are slow learners, Rob.
Well, we must be incredibly slow if they've been here for thousands of years, and we still are worse now than we were.
Don't forget, they've been here and done that millions of years ago. We're not going to catch up to them overnight.
No, but they should have some means of speeding up the process. You would
think. They're
otherwise,
helping.
What's all that knowledge in millions of years for?
Well, they're helping us and encouraging us from the background as they can. And it's interesting that a science fiction writer named Evelyn Smith, who is a frequent attendee at the interplanetary spacecraft conventions, wrote a book called The Venus Trap about what would happen if the Venusians just came down here and ran things, because we made such a mess of it and have been making such a mess of it. But it turns out that even though the Venusians come down and they impose paradisical conditions on the planet Earth, and there's no economic inequality, there's no racial or religious inequality, there's peace that reigns, but still the Earthlings go to squabbling with each other and return to all their infighting and even conspire to overthrow the Venusians. So they don't want to be.
But that's just someone saying that. That doesn't mean it's true.
I mean, it's the moral of the story, Rob. They don't want to be glorified babysitters. They want us to grow up and act like a galactic civilization, and when we do, we'll be welcome.
Yeah, but I mean, if I don't know, it's been so long term apparently that they've been here.
Well,
but I mean, they can't do better than faulty broadcasts from the south of England and vague statements about unity and spirituality.
That's a wake-up call to get people to just start thinking about it.
Well, Jesus said the same thing 2,000 years ago. Maybe he was an avatar.
Yeah,
But I
and
mean, it
people
hasn't
didn't
changed.
Bob,
It hasn't
people
changed.
didn't listen to him. They nailed him to a cross. Don't you
Well, a
think
lot
that?
of people have listened to him since,
You know,
though.
we're talking about cosmic evolution. Evolution is a slow process.
Evolution
And,
has no outcome.
uh,
Evolution is strictly a means to survive. There's no ultimate goal with
well,
evolution.
in the dialectical view of history, it's moving to it should be moving to a happy conclusion.
I hope so, but I don't see it out there right now. Do you?
Yeah, I could see the big picture. You
Well,
could either look at a glass as half empty or half full. I look at it as half full.
Well, I look at it in the form of progress. Technologically, we have progressed a lot. Socially, we've progressed some, but
And the Venusians say they want our spiritual progress to equal or exceed our material and technological progress, because if it doesn't, we're going to end up like the other civilizations on the Kardashev scale that never made it to a type 1. They just ended up as a burning cinder
we're about halfway to the Kardashev scale. Yeah.
the outskirts
Elon
of the
Musk says he'd
galaxy.
like to get us to the Kardashev level 1, but I always thought the Kardashev levels were about technology, not so much about unity and world peace or universal peace. I mean, I don't see that whenever
Well,
I read.
that's what our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters have in mind. Not only the technology, but the spiritual wisdom to use that technology for the benefit of all humankind.
I wish we had more. I really do. I mean, we keep having these avatars, if you want to call them that, the Buddha, the Christ, and all these people come and they're delivering the same message that your Venusians are supposedly delivering now, but 2,000, 3,000 years ago. And I don't see that we have, I hate to use the word evolved because the evolution has no ultimate goal other than to survive. It doesn't mean we're ascending to a higher level if you go strictly by evolution. But
Well,
I mean,
we're gonna just keep on promoting this message of peace and understanding and cooperation until somebody starts listening and paying attention.
do you think anyone's listening?
Yeah, I think even on this program, there's people that are saying, "Yeah, that guy's right."
But we need world leaders to listen. Do you think they're listening?
Yeah, some.
Not Putin.
Have we, Ray? Have we ever come close in the entire history of civilization? Do you ever get a feeling that we've ever come close to like a utopian a society which would have accepted us?
Yeah, I do believe that that there have been such societies. There have been cities and villages that have entirely disappeared, even in the contemporary time. Up around Hudson's Bay, there was an Inuit village, and the whole there was only a few barking dogs, and the whole village had disappeared. And I document that in my 4th book, The Vast Venus Conspiracy.
That's the Anjakuni you're talking about, tribe, that where the village disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I
up
think
near the Arctic Circle in Western Canada, I thought.
no, that was in Hudson Bay.
Oh, really? I'd have to double check that.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if because the Native American peoples are very in tune with spirituality and our brothers and sisters from the sky, and so if the Quacky Oodles or some other tribe in Western Canada disappeared, I wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it for a minute.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole tribe. Was it was just one village of them that disappeared?
Yeah, the one in
Around the edge of the lake.
Yeah, the one in the Hudson's Bay was the whole village. Yeah.
Nanjakuni, yeah. And we've had others that disappeared, but I like, can you name a civilization, not just a village, but a civilization like Phil was talking about?
Shambhala, the city of Enoch, the Quella civilization in the ancient Andes.
What makes
Yeah.
you think the city of Enoch was a paradise?
Well, it said that Enoch and his people walked with God, and then they were no more. That they were taken up off the earth, and in the Ethiopian.
Couldn't you say the same thing about Sodom and Gomorrah? I mean, they were there and then they were no more.
Well, they were blasted out of existence.
Yeah. But now they think
just,
that was an asteroid or a comet that caused that.
Yeah, they were destroyed because of their wickedness.
Hmm.
Well, in your sorry, go on, Rob.
Well, I was just thinking. I mean, you keep talking about the Venusians. Don't the Martians count too, or somebody else? I mean,
what it was is in the Tau Ceti system, which is about 12.2 light years from the Earth, there was a rogue planet that was passing through their system, and part of the civilization. It didn't crash into the planet Norca, but it came very close, and it created a lot of debris and everything as it passed through the solar system, and the planet was bombarded by cosmic debris. Maybe I should say the same thing about Venus. Of course, it wasn't giant asteroids, but it was bombarded with enough debris to significantly slow the rotation. But anyways, so those that didn't go underground in Tau Ceti, they built a fleet of space arcs to carry them to the habitable zone of our solar system, which then in the habitable zone included Venus, Earth, and Mars.
and where are you getting this information from?
This is from friends that I've met, Venusians and contactees and so forth. When I published the Flying Saucer Report in the '60s and the New Millennial Star and so forth, I met so many, and I have a garage, a storage area that's literally filled to the rafters with documents, photographs, everything, going all the way back to the very beginnings of the contactee era.
I'd like to see the photographs. I've seen some in different magazines at the time, and like Adamski and others, but and some of them, like the one in Switzerland.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was Billy. That was a gentleman
That's
named
Billy
Billy
something.
Meyer.
Yeah,
Billy
yeah,
Meyer. But just read. Rob, read all my books in the Venus Rising series. Also, my Real Resident Aliens book, and Pennsylvania, the Paranormal Vortex, West Virginia Paranormal Gateway, and Pennsylvania UFO Portal.
Well, I'll read your books if you read mine.
Oh, sure. I'll be happy to.
Never hurts to get more readers.
Right. I mean, this is why people call me the Cosmic Postman. Me and Rob Potter were called the Cosmic Postman because we're delivering the message about the ETs.
I like Cosmic Ray. I think that's a great play on your name.
Oh, thank you. Well, see, that was back in the that was back when I published the Flying Saucer Report. I was in high school in the '60s, and it was just everybody would kid me. At first, there was a TV show called My Favorite Martian, but
I remember it.
After that went off the air, they stopped calling me My Favorite Martian, and they just called me Cosmic Ray. This is me in the 1960s in the National Enquirer. There's an article there about me publishing the Flying Saucer Report, holding some back issues, and
you're wearing glasses. You don't wear them anymore?
No, I took them. I don't need them to look up close. Just I'm just far when I'm driving. So when I'm going
to put up, because you've got a website as well. I'm just going to share that so people know where to get you. Obviously, with your book, go along to Amazon. Okay, this is Ray's latest book, Cosmic Ray's latest autobiography of a Venetian, book 1, Child of the Stars. So click onto Amazon and just put in Dr. Raymond Keller, and it will come up a whole raft of books. Also, he's got a website as well. If I can get that up, just 1 minute. Let's have a look. Oh, hang on, my picture's gone now. 1 minute. Oh, why is that? Okay, just sort that out.
By the way, I love the illustration you put up there with the flying saucer.
Oh,
and
did
the bee
you?
and everything. That's
Oh,
awesome.
good. Well, I can't
Is that
take
AI?
credit.
Is that AI?
It is, yeah. I can't take any credit for the artistry. I can't take credit for that. It's all purely AI. All I do, like with AI, is just, the way it functions is I just put in the description. If you put in a detailed enough description,
Yeah, I do with my book covers.
then it'll cough up something good. I'll get the website up so people can see. Let's have a look. Where is it? Here we go. Venus Spirit. Yep.
So Venus Spirit, that's Anya Schaefer. She sponsors the largest UFO conference in Europe, and she publishes my books and those of Omnek Onek. So you see
Okay.
Anya in that picture there. That's above. That's Anya Schaefer in the middle, Omnek Onek, and then myself.
It's very lovely. Okay.
Good picture.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, nice cake. Oh, that's a nice cake. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. No, you got some, and people can find on here. Yeah, your events. What have you got coming up then? International. You've got May. Yeah, that's 2026. May 13th to 17th. You've got the Kirchheim, Germany. Ultimate UFO Disclosure Conference.
Yes, I just came back from that. But tomorrow I will be in my hometown of Bedford, Ohio, at the Apotheosis bookstore. And I'll be talking about helping people find their starseed connections. And then on the following day, I'll be at the Crystal Cove in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, outside of Harrisburg. And I'll be talking about a UFO disclosure on the part of world governments. And then later on this summer, I'll be up in the Georgian Bay area of Canada with Euphoria Chronicles, James Borg, and all my friends up in Canada. And I'll be at Mount Shasta this summer, and I'll be out at Sedona, and I really get around. So I never thought I'd be this busy in my old age. But
no, I wouldn't say old age. Come on, no, not old age.
It beats sitting around just watching TV or something.
Yeah, well, that's good though. It's what keeps you young, Ray. Keeping busy. It's what keeps you young.
Yeah.
Which is good. I've got a couple of things I do want to ask you.
I do write a weekly column for Lon Strickler's phantomsandmonsters.com out of McSherrystown, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. And people can get that via online downloadable?
Yes, just and they could keep track of where I'm going to be. It's phantomsandmonsters.com.
Phantomandmonsters.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that. That's good. I like that title. It's right up my street, Phantoms and Monsters. Ray, in your book, Flying Saucers from Venus, They Come, you detail intense gravity research of the 1950s involving figures like John Searle and the Babson Gravity Research Foundation, as well as G-ships. How close did humanity get to anti-gravity, and who or what ultimately suppressed this technology, Ray?
Well, I do believe that we did make some significant breakthroughs, because don't forget that Schulinger, von Braun, and these other people were saying that back at that time that rockets themselves weren't enough, that they were too heavy, too bulky, and too expensive, and they weren't reusable. That if we're going to explore space, we have to find a more economical way to do it. And so, in that regard, a lot of money was put into these gravity research programs that you see that are detailed and outlined in the book. So I do believe that some significant breakthroughs were done, and if there is a secret space program, it was based on that. And whoever derailed that or put them into black box project, they're the ones that robbed us of our Jetsons-like future. Dr. Michael Salla calls it the Star Trek future, but I was the first one to call it the Jetsons-like future. I guess that predates me.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. Well, I just wanted to because I've always been fascinated ever since. I torsion fields is one of my specialities. I do enjoy a good torsion field. Sort of like learning about them and how they function and work.
Well, that John R.R. Searle, he was from the United Kingdom, and he was really onto something. And there's photos of the actual vehicles that he created, and they actually worked.
Well, Earth is a giant series of torsion fields in itself. We've got a revolving, as far as we know, iron ore center revolving at terrifically high speed. We've got water down there as well, vast quantities of water deep in the mantle. So we've got two spinning, revolving orbs, within each other, and they are creating, I believe, much the same as ley lines. They create on the Earth, as John Keel once said, where he was a journalist, obviously, and he put pins on a map where all of these odd things were happening, and these things were happening in very concentrated places on Earth. Very concentrated places. They weren't just scattered all over the place. It was like, and David Paulides also with Missing 411. When you look at some of his maps with missing people, they all seem to be on certain concentrations on particular parts of or areas of the Earth, and I think this has something to do with it.
That's what I found too. When I wrote the book Pennsylvania and the Paranormal Vortex, I discovered these locations, Chestnut Ridge and some other places, where they have these, what they call them, magnetic hills.
Yeah.
Where you could put a car in neutral and it'll just go up the hill by itself.
Isn't that an optical illusion?
No, there's mass concentration. There's mass cons of iron ore that are under these areas, and it's like what Keel was saying about that for some reason this warps the magnetic field, and it creates an opening for the super spectrum. So you have all kinds of paranormal phenomena, not just UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, the whole thing. Like 14 different kinds of strange phenomena that take place in these areas.
Like Rob said just a minute ago, Rob said that with the cars going backwards up the hill, and things like that. I haven't actually. In Epping Forest, there's a hill there where and that is an optical illusion. I've never come across, to be honest, any hill where it can defy gravity and a car can actually, a 1.5 ton or 2 ton car can go up a hill.
Me neither.
Not yet. I haven't come across one.
Yeah, it happens all the time in Pennsylvania. Anyway, well,
Where in
maybe
Pennsylvania is this?
in Southwest Pennsylvania.
Southwest? Okay, because I
Yeah,
spent quite a deal of time in the Scranton Wilkes
I
area
have
there.
the actual in the book. I have the actual address of how you could get there and try it out.
Oh, and I looked up just now. I looked up the Anjikuni. They are in the north. It was in the Northwest Territories that took place in around 1930. Northwest Territories would be the northwest of Canada.
Okay.
And
But
and another question.
the one in my book is in the Vast Venus Conspiracy. It took place around Hudson's. There was a different town. It took place around Hudson's Bay, and that's what they were talking about at the meeting of the Flying Saucer Club at High Bridge when the Valiant Thor showed up. Yeah, that's in my book.
Oh, and another thing I double checked. You mentioned that the Venusian day was about 4 of our days, but according to the astronomical website I went to, it's more like close to a year. It's like 260 something days.
Yeah, it's 243 days. So the daylight is like half of would be half of that. So what would that be, like 4 months or something?
Oh, did you say 4 months? I thought you said 4 days. I'm sorry.
No, but 4 days is interesting though, because it takes 4 days for the clouds of Venus to make one rotation around the planet, and that's a remnant
slow.
from when Venus was actually spinning much faster.
Well, also, it's the Coriolis effect on Venus is almost non-existent because it's rotating so slowly. By the way, it has a retrograde orbit. Have you an explanation for that?
Yeah, it was bombarded by it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't super large asteroids, but it was bombarded in ancient days with significant debris that it caused that.
Caused it to go in reverse?
Yeah. Well, it slowed it down, and then when it picked up again, it was going in reverse.
Reverse. Okay. That could be, yeah.
Are you okay to just continue with a couple more questions, Ray?
Oh, sure. We didn't get a chance to get into the, unless you want to do that another.
No, what did you? I just wanted to ask. I was most interested in your interdimensional alliance that manipulates time, and the concept that in 2022 our timeline bifurcated into an organic divine timeline and an artificial intelligence timeline. As we sit here, right, in 2026, Ray, what markers indicate which timeline a person is on, and how can we ensure we stay aligned with the divine path?
Oh, that's a good one. Now, in my book, The Real Resident Aliens, I visit the Hopi reservation there at Hotavia in Arizona, where they have what's called the Prophecy Rock. And it's a division. It shows a division of the Earth. It's in the Prophecy Rock of two timelines. One, if we go the way of artificial intelligence and technology, and the other, if we return to nature. And so all the Hopi elders have been talking about this and prophesying, and it was Chief Kachanga, who in the 1950s and the 1960s and 1970s was the chief proponent of that. And he and a gentleman, a rancher from Idaho, were traveling around Canada, the United States, and Mexico, talking about the message from the Venusians and the other extraterrestrials. And then one day, Chief Kachanga went to the elders' ceremony, and he walked out into the desert. He was 112 years old. They saw a flying saucer come down. He stepped into it and took off, never to be seen seen again. But all of his archives and his story, and Paul Solom's about the Native Americans in the West of North America, are in that book. The real resident aliens. That's in the last five chapters. So I believe that there is that there are alternate timelines, and what some call the Mandela Effect, or been written up in novels.
Ray, sorry, I don't mean to push you, mate. Is there any markers to tell us? Is there any markers that you know of to tell us?
Oh yeah.
which
It's called
timeline we're on?
it's called the Mandela Effect. When you find a discrepancy that's consistent across the board, and some people they remember it one way, and others remember it another way. It's like there may have been a bifurcation of time somewhere around that time, but I would just refer you to books about. I think there's a lot of books have actually written about the Mandela Effect.
I wrote one.
There's tons of books. There's tons of videos. My God, TikTok's full of them. Absolutely full of them. TikTok is. Yeah, it's one of those things with Mandela Effect where it's very subjective. It's kind of it can be misrepresentation of memory, false memories.
Let me interject something there real fast.
Mhm.
In my book, I discuss the false memory thing, but there's two things you need to know about that. One, it isn't just one or two people having that false memory. Thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands have the exact same false memory. And psychiatrists can't figure out why, even if people have false memories about something, why when they have the false memory, it's always the same. It's always the same wrong way. For instance, I think I've used this example before, but what color is chartreuse?
What color is what? Sorry,
Chartreuse.
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 Yeah, it's actually the French word for it, chartreuse. It's a type of liqueur, but it's also the color of liqueur that we've applied to a certain color.
Teal, like a teal color, bluey green.
Well, it's actually a lime green, but you're close. But the people who get it wrong always say it looks like maroon or a plum color or purple, the exact opposite on the color of the color wheel. And it's not like when you ask about chartreuse, they say, oh, I think it's red, I think it's orange, I think it's yellow, or magenta. They all say the same thing. And they get it wrong, but they get it wrong the right way, if you know what I mean. And that's intriguing. Yeah.
It is intriguing. What book is that in? You've got that one in.
Yeah, what's the name?
Mandela Effect.
Okay.
Okay.
It's I can't remember the title.
I thought it was a kind of light purple, like the background of.
There you go. You see
Phil's background.
Yeah, exactly the
I always
opposite.
thought that's what it was.
Yeah, no, it's lime, but it's not just that. I mean, it's all, and some of it's physical. We've actually got physical evidence of what might be Mandela effects, like the Ford insignia with the F. It has a script F with a little filigree across the middle of the F, the main line. And good, the Mandela Effect. I was wondering what the title was. I had so many books.
Shattered Reality, the Mandela Effect.
Shattered Reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mandela Effect.
Oh, okay. I'm going to check that one
out. But I mean, it's I find it very interesting, and the way the maps change and all this changes. That's physicality. That's not just people remembering it wrong. There, like that was talking about the Ford insignia. They found old cars in junkyards, and they have the current Ford insignia on the front and the old one on the back without that little filigree across the F. But Ford insists they never had it without the filigree across the F. They're from about 1911 or something like that. They've always had it the same way. So how do we account for that?
Yeah.
I
There's been I know one of the most intriguing ones to me, which I absolutely remember, and that's the Monopoly Man. The Monopoly Man
Me
always
too.
had a monocle.
Yep.
Always had a monocle. That's what
Yep.
set him apart. That coupled together with Jaws in one of the 007 movies, when Jaws, the big fella with the steel teeth, and he
Oh,
met his
yeah.
girlfriend. And I distinctly remember going with my dad to the cinema, because Dad always used to love seeing those movies, because I think right at the beginning of the movie there'd be the titles of the half naked or naked girls dancing in silhouette.
Oh, I remember that.
He'd always say to me, "I'll get you ice cream after this, Phil. I'll get you ice cream after this." And I remember Jaws meeting his girlfriend, and distinctly remember what they had in common when they first saw each other. And what they had in common was Jaws with his steel teeth, and this cute little lovely girl with pigtails and her braces. I distinctly remember that, and I thought, oh wow, they're made in heaven, those two, because they still both got steel teeth.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely. That's how I remember it. But they say no, she never had it in the
yeah,
movie.
very
How
odd.
is that possible when we all remember her? Because I remember at one point they smiled at each other, and he
Yeah,
smiled first and showed all the steel teeth, and then she
yeah,
smiled to show all of her braces across
yeah,
her
Yeah,
teeth.
I remember that.
Yeah,
yeah.
and without that happening, it doesn't make sense. It has to be there.
It has to be there.
Well,
Otherwise, why would they have that sudden bond when they smiled, when he shows his mouth, and then they show her mouth, but her mouth doesn't have any
No,
that would work. Would
no.
have to be the same to create that bond between them.
yeah, I remember thinking, what would happen if the two braces got stuck together?
Yeah, exactly.
I was worried about that one.
Yeah, that
But
would be on the
There's
that
a
would be on the
theory.
X-rated version.
There's
Yeah,
a
and you hope to
theory.
God they floss before they kiss, you know.
There's one theory about time that could explain that. You know how matter and energy are convertible, right?
Mhm.
So they say that a radio wave, of course, is an energy, and the way a radio wave works is when you're listening to a radio, and we were talking about that earlier with the transmission thing. As you go up and down the dial, you can pick up a harmonic of it. So it's of the wave going up and down the dial. So
I have a question for you. I'm sorry. Had you finished your thought? I didn't mean to interrupt your
oh
thought.
yeah, it's just that that in space there's various filaments and so forth. And what happens when these harmonics pass through these filaments in space? So it's
Got me.
the same energy and the same matter, but isn't it affected by the filaments that exist in space and perhaps separate the dimensions? And maybe if our Earth passes through one of these filaments, people are tuning into somehow temporarily tuning into or experiencing some parallel Earth, some parallel reality.
Actually, I was talking to Phil about that a little earlier too, before you came on the air. Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, Phil. You had a question, right?
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, go ahead, Rob.
I've used this before, but I think it's a good analogy. You have a radio, and you're hearing a song playing on the radio. Where's the song?
The song is at the transmitter.
Or is it in the airwaves between the transmitter and the radio? Or is it in the radio? Or is it coming out of the radio? Or is it in the air that you're hearing the sound waves from the radio to your head? Or is it inside your head that you're hearing it? It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a good analogy.
Very good analogy. I do remember that one. Last time Rob really hit me with that one. I didn't know that one either, to be honest, Ray. And it was like kind of I had to think about that. And it's so simple, but yeah, very it was very it makes you think. You think, hang on a minute, well, it's got a point actually. Where is the origin of that? It does make you think.
It does.
Another thing that makes me think, right, is I won't keep you that long now, okay? But one of the most fascinating projects is the Morning Star Codex, where you filled in the fragmented gaps of the Nag Hammadi texts, including the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene.
Oh,
We
yes.
understand, yeah, see, we understand you used a unique technology resembling World War I goggles to billicate into the Akashic records. What was the most profound revelation? My question is, what was the most profound revelation you witnessed about the true teachings of Jesus and his twin brother Thomas?
I would say that the most profound is that that Jesus had very much in common with us and with the human experience, and that he was very much just very much misunderstood, and that he didn't so much die for people's sins, but he died for their ignorance.
Oh, good. I like that. I think so too.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they weren't willing to accept what he had to say, so kill the messenger kind of thing is the way I look
Yeah.
at it.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a shame.
And it,
really.
what was it? What was the greatest honor for me? The first time that I visited the United Kingdom was to introduce that book, and I came over there with Rob Potter, and we presented it actually in the Glastonbury Chapel.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
We
That's on a ley
introduced.
line. Glasbury Chapel's on a ley line.
Yeah. We introduced that. We introduced the gospel there, and it was particularly moving to me because after I found out, I was adopted and everything, I did the 23andMe, and I found out that my ancestors on my birth mother's side came from that part of the world, like around Bristol and the southwest part there of
Oh,
the.
wow.
Yeah. So I was my mother's name was Alice Hopkins. I was born Chris Hopkins, and the telephone book there is filled with Hopkins and Hopkinsons, and so it
Wow,
was.
so you've got a bit of Blighty in you.
Yeah, I do.
I think
Well,
most
that's
of us over
excellent.
here do. My ancestry is England, England and Scotland, so yeah.
Well, I'll have to teach you a little bit of Cockney patois then.
I think I'll
Yeah,
pass.
yeah, cool, blimey, mate. Apples and pears. That's it. Yeah.
Apples and pears. Does that mean something in stairs? What does that mean? Apples and pears. I've seen that before.
Yeah, cool, apples and pears. Yeah, apples and pears stairs. Yeah.
Are you Cockney in origin, or?
No. I'm from Hampshire. Well, Hampshire is originally I was born in Hampshire, but grew up in a place called Greenford, which is a burb of London, close to Ealing, near Wembley Football Stadium,
Oh
near
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, not far away from there.
I spent most of my time in Cornwall, in Devon, but yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time.
That's lovely. I love it in Cornwall and Devon. Honestly, it's so nice. Absolutely lovely.
Parking's a bear. I mean, in England, parking anywhere is a bear. It's almost impossible, it seems.
Oh yeah. Well, I found out when I was there that the country roads are quite narrow,
aren't they?
And then when people park there, it's even more
impossible.
Because
I've been in villages where
when
when they're parked on each side of the road, you've got this like tiny little lane, and you're in danger of losing your wing mirrors. But they can't expand their roads because these villages are historical, and to expand the road, you'd have to wipe out all these buildings on either side of the road.
Yeah,
and they were designed for horse and cart, not for big cars. So it's understandable. It's tricky, especially with the high hedgerows when you're doing 60 miles an hour on one of those little country lanes. The car comes around the corner.
Yeah. Well, you had some questions, didn't you, Ray?
No, just it was a pleasure to be with you here today and share this information. And I do have all of those original photos and of Howard and Connie Menger and Valiant Thor and his crew, and Connie and Howard turning into light beings and all that. But maybe we should do that another day.
I've got one question which I want to bring up, and that is from Keith Evans, Paranormal Short Sessions. Hello, Keith. Question: Do you think that the Venusians are just here to observe but not change anything?
I believe that know that they do want to change things, and they'll work behind the scenes, but not to interfere overtly in the course of human history. Not overtly, but to give us a nudge every here and there, let us know if we're moving in the right direction, and help speed us along.
Right.
Particularly as individuals, as it says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2.
His second question is basically along the same lines. Do you think that the Venusians are here to observe but not to assist in any way? So basically the same. But see, my problem is with a lot of these aliens is like, as Rob pointed out, they're doing a pretty crappy job at the moment. They're with their technology, and they're obviously they're light years ahead of us in the grand scheme of the on a level of civilization. I forgot the word now. Akashic, isn't it? No,
Akashic.
Akashic, that's it. They're way above us. They must be. If they're able to flip over onto timelines, if they're able to use ships where the propulsion can reach 18,000 miles an hour and G-force of God knows what, and they're able to demonstrate how advanced they are, and yet they're not able to demonstrate very well their skill of communication with us. It's almost like they are children. Every time that I hear about a witness that's been abducted, the aliens that do the abducting seem to have no sense of or understanding of us. Now, I'm not saying Venusian, I'm saying typically grey, but they seem to not understand the trauma that they're inflicting. They seem to be devoid of what is right or what is wrong.
Or they don't care.
Well,
I think
if they don't care, there'd be a modicum of guilt there. There would be. If they don't care, then you see,
not necessarily. They might be amoral. They might not simply have a concept of morality.
As far as the Greys go, the Zeta Reticula, I think that they are in some way conducting a longitudinal study of certain humans with certain physical characteristics that they're lacking or needing in their genome to complete their that they need our genetic material for some reason. I'm not sure what it is, but they're tracking these people in longitudinal studies like we do. When we tag like a duck or something and we follow its migration patterns and its habitat and find out about it.
What about cattle mutilations? Why are they doing that?
Well, there's an interesting thing about the cow blood and plasma, and there's a lot of compatibility with. There's actually quite a compatibility of it with with humans. So I imagine that it probably has some use to certain species of extraterrestrials.
Wouldn't pigs be better? We have more in common with pigs than we do with cattle. We're even using pig parts now. We're trying to develop pigs that can grow pretty much human kidneys and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I had quadruple bypass surgery in 2014, and I've got a
Pig
valve.
valve.
Yeah, I've got,
Pig valve. Yep.
I got a valve, so I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. But
Yeah.
maybe there's something particular to the genetics of bovine genetics that has some significance to the ETs. That's all I
But
can think.
it isn't just cattle though. It's also sheep and it's also
Yeah,
horses.
yeah. I remember in 1967, the first time I heard about that was an Appaloosa horse in Colorado called Snippy, and I think that was the first one that ever got any public
Reported on, yeah.
Robert Gribble of Aerial Phenomena Research Group put that at the front page of his newsletter back then. So that's the only reason I remember it.
We've got Matt Hornick. Hello, Matt. He says, so do we enter and leave through Saturn? And your thoughts on Macbeth style of meditation translocation. He spells Macbeth as Merkabeth.
Oh, the Merkaba.
Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation is terrible. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that's what he's referring to. Well, I think that either Saturn or Jupiter would make a great entry point of our solar system. Visitors to our solar system would get a good gravitational assist from either of those planetary orbs, and to move on to the inner planets, or to get refueled or lay over at Titan, which is a moon of Saturn that has a breathable atmosphere, although it's very cold. But yeah,
I'm sorry, but Titan doesn't have a breathable atmosphere. It's methane.
No, that's what the lakes are made out of.
No, it's the air too. It rains methane.
Yeah, the atmosphere is 90% nitrogen and 10% oxygen.
Of Titan?
Of Titan, yeah. Yeah, I wrote an article about it from the files of Stanton Friedman, and he was analyzing what the Russians, they were very interested in Titan, and that's what it said about Titan.
Yeah, it's so cold that ice is like steel. It's really hard.
Oh yeah, it's
and we
freezing.
had the Cassini probe go to Saturn, and I can't pronounce the name of it, but the European.
The seas of Titan aren't frozen though, because the seas are methane, so they have a much lower freezing point.
I think when the satellite went to Titan, it was a sacrificial satellite. It would never survive.
What was it called? The Huygens? The Huygens?
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Huygens, yeah, it burned up, and they purposely plummeted it into the atmosphere of
it
Saturn,
didn't burn up. It actually
up.
landed. It actually landed on.
Yeah. The first one though that went there to.
That's what I'm talking about. Huygens, yeah.
Yeah, they burned it up in the, not the one that landed, but the first probe there that they burned it up in the atmosphere.
Only one probe I know of that landed on Titan, and that was the Huygens.
That was the one that landed, but there was another probe that went to Titan, and they purposely burned it up in the atmosphere because
that could be.
Remember, it had an atomic engine in it, and they wanted to burn it up.
I knew that the Cassini, I believe, had.
Oh yeah, the Cassini. Yeah, it's the Cassini that they burned up in.
But that was the mothership, so to speak, for the Huygens.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm quite positive the atmosphere of Titan is methane. It rains methane. The lakes are methane. The oceans are methane. And if there were any oxygen in that atmosphere, then you would have one heck of an explosion, because methane is highly flammable.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It would be. Yeah, if there was any oxygen in that, with that quantity of methane, then yeah, it would just, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it would be pretty bad. When
Matt
lightning
Hornick,
strikes, you wipe out a continent.
Well, it's
yeah,
it's well, on Lon Strickler's site, it's just type in Titan, because my article is there, and it has the documentation for it. So, I'm just telling you what
yeah.
I found
No, I have
out.
to look at that. No, I have to look at that. That'd be interesting. Matt Hornick has also asked, do you think perhaps we broke reality both with CERN as just a continuation of containment theory? So
Yeah,
basically,
I was worried about the projects that were taking place there. I put a cartoon in that book, in one of my books, with when they they turn on the CERN, and the scientist says, "Here goes nothing," and then it has a map of the solar system with the Earth blinking out of existence. So yeah,
yeah.
we're really playing around with powers beyond our comprehension and understanding
Well, now wait a
what they
minute. I
can
mean,
do.
CERN is a particle accelerator, and they
Right.
accelerate particles close to the speed of light, and they collide them to see what comes out of that with other particles. But CERN doesn't even have the speed or the power of particles coming at us from outer space. Cosmic rays are much more energetic than even CERN can come up with. It takes a lot of energy. We don't know where cosmic rays come from, but
So
they're
Rob,
striking the Earth
do
all
you
the
think
time, and they're
it's
not
opening?
wiping out the universe.
Do you think it's opening up some kind of portal, though?
I think quantum computers are doing that. That's what I
Hmm.
think. The founder of one of the Canadian quantum computer company, I can't think of its name, but you can look it up on YouTube. He has a seminar right on YouTube, and he stands there. This is one of the two founders of this whole company, and they're making money. And he says that the reason quantum computers are so fast is because they interact and connect with quantum computers in parallel realities, and that's why they can come up with the answer so fast. Other quantum
Oh.
states, other
Is that D Wave
superpositions.
2, Rob? Was that D Wave 2?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Oh,
D Wave.
I've got a quote here that deals with all this stuff, and it's from my favorite TV show. There used to be a show called The Outer Limits,
Oh yeah.
and this
Yeah.
one program called The Galaxy Being. It was on 16 September 1963, and this is what they said at the end of the program. It deals with this very same thing. The planet Earth is a speck of dust, remote and alone in the void. There are powers in the universe, inscrutable and profound. Fear cannot save us. Rage cannot help us. We must see the stranger in a new light, the light of understanding. And to achieve this, we must begin to understand ourselves and each other.
That's good philosophy, actually.
And anytime I think about that, anytime I think about messing around with these vast powers of the universe, that little verse always comes to my mind. I think it's just better to be cautious,
Yeah. Ready Steady Retro's asked, hello, Ready Steady Retro. Do all Venetians and other aliens all know for sure they are alien to Earth? So basically, are any of them generic, to Earth, or are they all alien?
Oh yeah, there are some that are generic
Not
to Earth.
generic. Wrong
I
word.
would say that that not everybody knows that they're a star seed. They have to awaken to it. Mark Twain once said that there's two important days in a person's life. The first one is the day that they're born, and the second one is when they find out why they're here. So I would say that pretty much applies to star seeds as well.
How would I know that I'm a star seed, Ray?
Well, there are various characteristics and so forth. There's 41 of them that that have been identified so far, and but it would be actually worthy to do another podcast with just
Okay.
going over
Would you
those
come
things.
on again another time? Because I know that you had some production work you wanted to show us as well.
Oh yeah, this was all the original Valiant Thor material from the files of Otto Binder and August C. Roberts. They were working together on a book, and I have all their original information. So I think
Oh, that would have been good to see.
I think all of your viewers will be delighted to see all this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, that would have been good to see.
Photographs of Venusians standing in front of scout ships. Howard and Connie. Howard is Soldinaro, a Saturnian,
Oh,
and Marla as a Venusian, turning into Connie
oh,
Baxter.
you're really pushing out the sweet trolley on this one.
Yeah, they're turning into light beings actually in front of 40 people, and I have pictures of.
Yeah, I would like to have seen that. I'm sure Rob would as well, and everyone else.
Yes,
at
I
home.
would. I would.
From
yeah.
they're from my Venus files, so exclusive program.
Oh, go on then, show us.
Want to see one? Want to see one of them? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, please, go on.
Okay. Let's
I heard
see.
that. I don't. Wait. Sorry, Matt.
So to share, I just click the plus thing, right?
Yeah, just the TV with the plus sign on it. That's all you got to
Okay.
click.
And then it
Yep.
says video. Oh, share screen. Okay. All right. And let's see. And then.
So yeah, basically, right. If you've got it on file, bring your file up with it on, or your presentation with it on. Then share screen.
All right.
Okay. And then it will nominate. You'll be able to nominate. A little box will come up with all your nominations of what tabs you've got opened on the computer and what one you choose. And whatever one you choose, whatever one you choose will come up on screen.
I have the thing here on my computer at the bottom, and so do I just like I brought it up?
Yeah. So when you share screen, okay, it will bring up a box, and in that box you'll have a load of little all the tabs you have open on your computer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it'll have a list of all the tabs open, and you just choose the tab or the PowerPoint or whatever you have. Choose that one, and then it will come up on screen.
Oh, okay. And
well, it won't automatically come up on screen, but it will come up on my window. And I'll be able to
all it shows me is the one that we're on right now.
Oh, okay. All right then, but that's the one that's open. Yeah. So basically, like I said to you in the message earlier, I said the best way of doing it is send me the file or send me a link to it, and then I'll be able to open that link up and then put it on to present it.
Oh, okay. So it's it's copyrighted by me and Headline Books. So
okay then. Well, if it's copyrighted, then I probably wouldn't be able to show it.
Well, I'll send it to you, and then but just for the to do on a future show. How would that be?
That sounds good, and I'll work out with you about the copyright. We'll have a little look.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be really good. Because I don't know why it won't.
No, it's only because it will show whatever screen you're on. So, like when I put up stuff and I put up an Amazon tab. Yeah. I'm able to split screen it because I'm running the show. But you're the guest, so you've either got you on a tab, or you would have to have you off and you just showing the PowerPoint or whatever tab you want open. Yeah, that's the That's the perks and the headache of running the podcast.
I saw it pop up there
In equal measure. In equal
I
measure.
did see it pop up there for a second, but then I think when you hit it, it knocked it off.
No worries. No worries. We can sort that out another show. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds
right.
that sounds like a plan.
Because did you find it fun? It wasn't too hard on you, was it? We weren't too bad on you.
No, that was good. That was good. It was a challenge. Like Jacques Vallée says, a challenge to science.
Cool. All right, I like that. We've got one last comment. I've got one last question from Matt Hornick.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on Dr. Walter Kilner about the D-Cyan glass? Glass.
Oh yeah, the Kilner screens. The Kilner screens are great for showing auras, and they're really great for diagnoses. It was created in 1911. I know that, and it's been largely confined to the world of psychic research, but I would say that it's very important.
Are we talking about Kirlian photography?
No,
Is that what...
no. The screens, Kilner screens.
I'm not familiar with it.
They have a device. Extraterrestrials use it to scan people without significant radiation.
Okay. All right. Look, we're running out of time. It's over 3 hours now. Are you okay with that, Rob? Calling it a day?
No, I want to stay on for the rest of my life.
This isn't the Phantom Zone.
Honestly, mate, we could talk to you all night, mate. Honestly, it's been fabulous. Absolutely enjoyed it.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you, Rob. It was a real pleasure.
Well, I learned a lot.
It was good. Really enjoyed it, and all of the links to Ray's website, his Amazon books, everything else I could grab hold of, which he sent me, is all in the description, people. So if you go, have a little look, okay, and check it out, you won't be disappointed. Okay, it's a gift that keeps giving. All right, thank you very much, Ray. Do appreciate that. I'm going to take everyone off screen, and we'll be.
I know what I saw out there.